are you? Gary here. I met him about 3 or 4 months ago, and him and his wife. And he told me that he doesn't build houses, he builds subdivisions. Well, he's kind of building one.
Right.
And so I thought, wow, that really, really sounds neat. And he's just like Paul. Paul doesn't invest inside town. He only invests outside town. And he's doing apartment buildings. I probably will never buy an apartment building, but I still found his talk very, very interesting, and I got a lot out of what he said. And so I know somewhere in there I'm going to find something that Gary tells us that I'll be able to use. So just listen and enjoy.
Okay, I hope so. I don't know.
Nope.
Does this come on by itself or
It's
doesn't
on
it?
already. I've had you on the whole time.
Oh, I've been talking to everybody longer than I thought, huh?
I've got software that cuts it out. So
Okay. Okay, we're going to talk to you about a little subdivision we put in out at Gardendale. We started looking. We found a place. Somebody told me about a place that had 17.5 acres, they thought. And I thought, yeah, that'll be just right. I can go look at that. So we went and looked at it. Well, it turned out it wasn't 17.5, it was 7.5.
there you go.
So we looked at that and said, the way this is arranged, I can probably still do something with it. Says, let me get it surveyed and see what a surveyor can do with it, and we'll go. So we got it surveyed and started getting stuff back. And I said, what is this flood right away here? He said, I don't know what that is. So I started checking around with the county, and it's not a flood zone, but I forgot, it was a drainage area, a drainage release. Got checking around with the county. Well, you can't put any septic systems in that. Well, that covered about 3 of the 7 acres and just made it totally unfeasible. So we looked around a little more. So my agent called me a while later, and he said, hey, I found this place that it's 17.5 acres. And he said it's got, that's actually 17.34. He said it's got a barn dominium on it. And I thought, okay. So I went and looked, and here it is. I'll pass this around. This is the barn dominium that was on it. And it's, pretty ugly. It looks like a barn. And it's 17.5 acres. It's $305,000. So I said, okay, well, let's look at that. And I did a little planning on it. And I said, okay, we'll take that. We'll flip the barn dominium. We'll improve that, make it look good, flip it, subdivide the acreage, and put some lots in. And then, so we go from there. So we worked on this, and when we got through with it, just pass that around if you'd like to. Well, this is what we came out with. We put a wraparound porch around it. We stucco and stone instead of, we covered all of the metal with stucco. We put stone around it, got the wraparound porch, put big columns on it. It's a nice place. I mean, beautiful place. Made good money on that. Sold that, once we got it finished, it sold in 8 days. And so that one's good. So we kind of got us kicked off on our building project. And we, okay.
Which one do you want?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
That one?
Yeah, next house was on lot 6. So we got kicked off there. I guess I got to give you a little history about myself anyway. I should have done that. Got a lot of construction experience, not so much house building. I retired from ExxonMobil Corporation in 2007, worked for them a little over 30 years. And I did a lot of oil well drilling, I did a lot of construction, I did a lot of field superintendent work, but was for them a lot of roles, did a lot of things, went a lot of places. But that was part of the problem. We were going a lot of places and had sick parents and so forth, and they really needed to be home, so I retired just as soon as I was eligible and came home and helped my wife take care of her parents for a few years there, and because it was sure tough on her. But anyway, that's where I came from, my history. Over the years, I accidentally flipped my first house. We actually bought it to fix it up and live in. I mean, it was out behind Pee Wee Dalton's in that Ridgewood subdivision out there. And it was a gorgeous place. It needed work, but it was a gorgeous place. So we, what we did, went out and worked on it. So we got a real estate agent and we said, hey, sell this house we're living in. We had a really big house over a few streets, and the family was starting to shrink a little. Said, sell this one and we're gonna move over here. Well, he liked what we were doing so good over here. He kept showing the one that we were fixing up for us instead of the one that we were trying to sell. So we finally wound up didn't sell that one. We sold the one that we were fixing up to live in. So that was how I accidentally flipped my first house, but it was a good deal. Here's, like I say, this is the house on Lot 6. This is the first house that we built out there. This is the new owner standing in front of it. It was a total spec house. I picked out a size that said, okay, here we are. The things that are selling are between $200,000 and $300,000. This was going to be a $240,000 house, 1,600 square feet. My design motif going in was a good tall front elevation to make it look like a big house. Side entry garage, so you know it still continues to make the house look larger and do what's there. This, you know, in the country, everybody that's in the country that needs a garage, they probably got a 3/4 ton pickup, long bed, double cab. So these things will park those. This is like a 24-foot by 25-foot garage. Looks really nice. This gentleman had two like that. So he's a single guy. Bought this house actually for his mother, but they live there together, and that's the first house that we finished there. We built a total of 4 out there. We've got the second house was this one. Oh, I kind of gonna go ahead and did I pass that around? That's coming in? Okay. This is the second house we built. This one, yeah, go ahead.
Where did you get the designs?
My design guy is actually that particular one I picked out of one of his floor plans, but Al Rios, not Al Rios. That's my drafter at Exxon. Just a second.
An architect, though?
He's a designer. He's a CAD draftsman, designer type guy. I'll give you his name here in a minute. He's down here on Grant Street. Does good work. He's pretty quick. So anyway, but this was, and basically, I mean, that was one of his houses I picked out. This one wound up being a total custom house. The lady picked out a floor plan. We got it drawn by the, and I'm a designer, and just started from the end. I'm not doing any more custom houses. I did 3, and it was like having 3 extra wives.
I'm not
Bad wives. I didn't introduce Deborah, but Deborah is my wife for 32 years, and she's my support. I'll guarantee you, I couldn't do without her. But anyway, this is the Sorensen house. It's 1,940 square feet, same type of garage. Had a really nice floor plan. You know, I think we appoint these really well. We do all granite. We finish them well with crown mold. Make a nice looking place. Do the closets really nice with organizers and so forth. And like I say, the only one that we actually put up for sale is that spec house, and it just like the flip house that sold in 8 days. So these all sold from building that one house. That was the second house that we built. It's on Dogwood Street. If you guys get out there, we're just off of 158. We've got that whole big block off of 158 there. It was between Dogwood and Western Streets. And so that's kind of the central part of Gardendale. It gets the Grandview that comes out there, 554 runs kind of down the middle of it. This is about 3 or 4 blocks to the east of that, and right off of 158. what we got here? That's just another picture of the first house.
Yeah, you didn't really bring a lot of people.
I know my printer quit. But anyway, that's just another picture of the same house there. We got,
No, that's a different house.
that is?
Yeah.
Oh, that is, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the fourth house third house that I built. That one's on 2 acres. We were pretty lucky. I checked the water, had the water wells tested that were on the place before we got it. We've got good water on everything that we put in out there. We also, the houses on Dogwood Street have Greater Gardendale city water available too. So that particular house has Greater Gardendale water. That one's right at 2,000 square feet. A little fancier than the others. These have ranged from $135 to $155 a square foot. And fourth house, I don't have any pictures of. I had some in my cell phone, but anyway, we just finished the fourth one. I just finished a punch list on it last week. And in fact, that's pretty well what's been keeping me occupied for the last week and a half or 2 weeks. You get down to that punch list. Well, all that little stuff is kind of the things that I like to take care of. I got one other guy that helps me with that, but that just seems to take the most time is the final details on them. Anyway, we made 11 lots. I sold 3 lots. Just raise a little capital and keep me going and stuff. I've got 2 lots left. Also, in the deal, picked up this mobile home. It's a double wide, 28 by 62 or something like that. In that subdivision, I restricted my subdivision for no mobile homes, but this is in it. So I've got another place I'm flipping. I'm fixing to move this thing this week down to Azalea in Gardendale and set it up on city water and got it, and I'll pedal it too. Otherwise, that pretty well takes care of what the Gardendale project is. But if anybody's interested in a double wide, well, that's a 2012 or 13 model. 13, okay. And really good shape.
How'd you go about finding your subcontractors?
That was kind of I knew a guy that did a lot of things. He was more the tile guy and some other things, but he knows every stinking contractor in the country. So he started out as my superintendent, and he helped me find people. In fact, he still helps me find people. He's kind of stepped out on his own now and doing stuff on his own, but man, I tell you what, he knows every contractor in the country, and every time I needed somebody, I said, who are we going to do with this? Oh, that'll be old Gerald or whoever. You know, he knew everybody. He still does a lot of things for me. He does cabinets, he does tile, he does the stuff, but he's got so daggone busy that he couldn't take care of my stuff too. And but he was a big help, and that's really the way, that partnership is really what got me started, because that was going to be my really weak point, was finding subcontractors. And I struggle with it a little bit still. I mean, you know, let's face it, and they say they're going to show up and they don't, and you know, you get a lot of problems. You got to watch them like a hawk. So I'm spending a little more time supervising than I hoped I would, but I knew it was going to be that way.
I think the time to quit is you start at 11 and you quit at 2. That's your 8-hour day.
You're lucky.
And
For the 2-hour lunch, right?
Yeah.
there you go. But anyway, it's been an experience. We've learned some things. We did a few things wrong. Nothing we couldn't correct, thank goodness. You know, it just takes money, and you know how that goes. But no, we got some real happy house owners there, and I'm happy with the way things are turning out. We've got 2 lots left, and going to build 2 more here shortly, but they're going to be full spec.
we're building them and then putting a for sale sign on them. So he doesn't have to deal with his other wives.
But right now I've got 3 other flip projects going. I've got a house at 310 Kessler in Midland that we're getting close to finished with. Just getting started on one at 2718 Keystone here in Odessa. I've got one out in Gardendale also on Azalea. It's Azalea is the very east edge of Gardendale. I think there's 2 streets that are actually, west, I'm sorry, that are west of that. And so it's
And it's going to be awesome.
it is. That's going to be a great house. Yeah, it was 1,620 square feet as it was built, but it has 2 double car garages. And so one of those double car garages is going to become a bonus room, and a bonus room. We can do it and still make it pretty usable and so forth. It's got a swimming pool. It's got 1.5 acres. Really nice place.
There's an apartment in the back.
Apartment in the back, yeah. Extra rental apartment in the back, 3-room apartment.
Yes.
So did you do everything out of pocket, or did you get construction financing?
I got some construction funding. I did cash in an IRA, and I say cash in. I converted an IRA to a different type of IRA, and it funds my business. Is the way I got started. But I took one of my IRAs and moved it over and used that. I do some construction or some financing through Lending Home. I've talked to some other people. I try to do as much of it as I can myself because it's so costly to go through and do that. But if you're going to do a whole bunch, everybody knows it takes a bunch of money to do it. So.
And the big expense to me is all the insurance you have to carry on everything all the time. The insurance is high.
But,
For all employees plus the $2 million non-coverable contract. There's a whole, trust me, I understand.
yeah. But yeah, we should finish the Kessler house middle of next month. We should have it ready and on the market. These other 2 are going to be another month or 2.
What company is your self-directed with?
I'm sorry?
What company is your self-directed with?
It's with, just a second. It's actually not a self-directed. It was a conversion. It's still an IRA. And the IRA funds my business. And it's, and I will tell you here in a minute, I get a bill every once a month. Getting old's not for getting old's not for sissies. I'm sorry, my memory is a little fuzzy, but I will think of it here in a minute. My brother owns a fish window cleaning business in the Dallas area, and they had funded his out of his IRA, and he recommended him, and they did a very good job. They did. They do real well. Take care of the accounting on it for you, and they do a good job on that. And I will tell you the name as soon as it comes to me. I'll put it out on the email if I think about it when I think of it. But yeah, it's Fidelity that carries the IRA, but that's not the name of the company that did the conversion for me. You don't remember? Okay. But like I say, I will put that out.
So are you going to do fix and flips from now on, or are you going to do any whole?
I'm going to do some of both. Fix and flips, we just kind of started converting. They are more profitable than new construction. Easily more profitable than new construction. In fact, as I look back on it, I could have sold those lots and made a little less money than I made for building houses. So So a lot of that's for fun. But yeah, fix and flip is definitely the better way to go. We also intend to start, yeah, start accumulating some rental property too.
That's what I want. Mailbox
How long
money.
did it take for you to get your survey to break up the lot?
How long did it take to get the survey? Those guys, of course, surveyors, the surveyor used to work for me, but it was about 30 days getting it put together. Doing a subdivision is even in the county, is a pretty good deal. I mean, here's the survey on it. Huh? Oh, well, I could see it.
You can see it.
Yeah, you can. It's a sepia, but yeah.
Are those the floodplains that you're talking about? This area here?
That is a floodplain here.
This is another floodplain?
Yep, this is just out of me here.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, this one, and of course, it just gets the roads. The houses will be back here on these
And
two.
that's 17 acres?
That is 17 acres. Now, of course, there's 1 acre, a little over 1 acre in an oil well.
Yeah, but you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, no. It'll get sold with this lot.
Pretty much.
Because, I don't want to keep it just to pay taxes, huh? Okay.
It took me about 3 months to get ours.
I'm sorry?
It took us 3 months to get ours surveyed.
Did it? I know some pretty good surveyors. They could probably beat that. I used Stanford Surveying out of Midland, and they did real good.
That was the group we used too, but it still took forever.
Okay. Of course, like I say, Mike had worked for me when I worked at Exxon.
That's probably the reason why you got it.
Yeah, so I got a little favorable treatment on that, but
Because
he didn't favor me on the bill.
I'm positive of that. That
Yeah.
guy's so tight.
Yeah. But no, that was a learning experience getting that thing through the county. But they will help you. You just go around and talk to the folks, and they'll tell you what they got to have and
How
help.
long did it take for you to get the change of use on it?
Change what?
Change of use.
Change of.
If it was farmland
Oh,
and you converted it to residential property, that's a change of use.
okay. There wasn't anything involved. Actually, it was residential property when I bought it because it had the house on it that was already there, and none of it was in cultivation of any kind.
Okay.
So yeah, it already had a house on it.
And they considered all that property one property, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And
So-
my question.
I wasn't aware there was a change of use, so you taught me something. I didn't.
Well,
I knew there was.
change the use of a house into a commercial property.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
And that way you can send it to an attorney or a doctor or something,
Right.
and you get rents that are higher than normal.
Yeah. Of course, it's also county instead of city, so there is no zoning ordinance.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you can build a house and then put anything, unless it's a restricted subdivision. Yeah. You can build
Absolutely.
a business, anything you want to on that property because there are no zoning restrictions in the county. Once you get outside the ETJ, the ETJ has a few restrictions, but they're not near as bad as the city, for sure.
Did you file your restrictions that you added on?
I did.
And what about the property you have in Andrews?
What about the property I have in Andrew? Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Did these properties have city water or everything was well water?
I had one street had city water on it. I was able to get 2 taps. Gardendale is in a moratorium on putting and giving you taps right now, but they have a program where if somebody has asked for a tap, well, it comes up, well, now they got to pay for it. Right. Okay, then they'll give it to the next folks in line or somebody else down the line there, and I was able to get 2 that way. All of the properties have water wells on them. Was real lucky they have good water wells. Yeah, they anywhere from 13 to 20 gallons a minute.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
What about septic or sewage?
Yeah, we just did an on-site sewer facility with a septic tank and drain field. The contractor will permits those for me.
And 1 acre property is big enough to have that?
As long as you have a 1 acre property, and that was one of the things I made sure of when I did my subdivision. None of those lots are any smaller than 1 acre. There's 2 on the end there that are like 1.09 acres or something like that. But all the properties are at least 1 acre. And that way you can do. And I have a couple of properties on the east end there that don't have 1 acre per lot, but they were subdivided prior to 1989, I believe it is. So I can still, and they're actually less than a little less than a half acre, but you can still get a sewer facility on them. Yeah. And oh yeah. And the Andrews property, I do have another 8.5 acre property up at Andrews that I just closed on the other day. It's got a big mobile home on it. I'm either going to flip it or either going to wholesale it or go up there and maybe build a house or 2.
Yeah, but tell them how hard it was to get because of the ownership and the names being in.
Oh, it had title problems.
Oh.
It had terrible title problems. We were set to close on it like April 9th, which was really a problem because things, the market has kind of gone down in Andrews since April. It was pretty good in April, and the time we got closed by the 1st of August, well, things are not quite as good as they were. But yeah, the guy that was supposed to have signed off on it had died, and he hadn't signed off on the contract, so they needed his heirs to sign off on it. Well, he had 4 kids, and it was easy to find the 4 kids, but he had a girlfriend that he had left a fifth of it to, and they never did find the girlfriend who had 3 or 4 kids also, and finally just got an adverse determination on it and got it over to us. But that was watch out for Cloud Tyler. I'm sorry? You gotta watch out for Cloud Tyler. Oh yeah, I don't do anything without title insurance and let them do the title search. There's just too much out there that can bite you. Surveys and title insurance, I can't stress too much how important those 2 things are.
How long does it take to do the title search?
It depends on who you use. I've had better luck with some abstract companies than I have others. Bison's real fast. Ector County's kind of there,
When you say fasting, 30 days?
2 weeks. I've had some done 2 weeks or less at Bison. West Texas was a little slow, but in Midland, but they were real short-handed. They've got some more people now. They're a little better. Anybody knows good title people, I'd be interested because they are hard to find here. Yes, sir.
You made a comment a minute ago that your fix and flips are more profitable than your new construction.
Mine have been, yes, sir.
That kind of surprises me.
It's so competitive on the new construction, especially with the people putting up the beaten bow houses, and they're not really good houses, but they throw them up and they put them out there at prices that you can't match buying materials one house at a time. And I refuse to build anything that's not super quality. And if I'm gonna put my name on it, well, it's gonna be done right.
Fix and flips aren't like that at all.
Well, I go a little extra on the fix and flips too. Kessler help.
The one moving on Kessler, it will be a brand new home.
Yeah, we
get it.
We gutted it, dug up the plumbing and replumbed it. Did just about everything you can do to the thing. So
you mind talking a little bit more about maybe where you're finding your fix and flips as far as deals goes and exactly what you're doing to rehab them?
Well, I've got a realtor that I use, the one on Keystone and the one on Azalea that I got, driving around looking for signs. The one on Keystone, for example, I was there's a building supply / feed store / all kinds of things out at Gardendale there that I went over to buy some foam insulation to blow into a place. I told him what I was doing. I talked about one of my flip houses. Yeah, my brother's got a place there on Keystone. Said they had a little fire up in the front. It wasn't much. Said, but I thought about buying that and doing it. And I said, well, is he still trying to sell it? He said, yeah, he's still trying to sell it. So the day we had our bed, the day before the bad hailstorm, well, I went and looked at it, and he was wanting $30,000 for it, which I thought was a pretty good deal. And then that hailstorm hit it and did about $18,000 worth of damage to it. So anyway, I picked it up a little cheaper than that, but yeah, that we got that one going now. So anytime I get a chance to talk about real estate, I got my ear tuned. If somebody says, yeah, I need to sell this place or whatever, I put we buy houses on my cards, just whatever I can do. But I just keep my ear to the ground really good.
And if you see somebody out in the yard at a house that looks like my kid's not being tended to, don't be afraid to go ask. The one on Azalea had a little big for sale sign with no phone number or anything on it.
Or it'll be laying down on the ground where you can't see it unless you actually walk up to the house.
And there was an old man piddling and doing something out there, so we just got out and asked him. And that's how we found out. He had his phone number.
Yeah, I got 20 grandkids. They're all looking. They know they get paid a bonus if I buy something that they point out to me.
I don't have that luxury.
Yeah, but yeah, that type of way. And like I said, I've got a couple of real estate agents that look for me pretty regular. They know what my criteria is and what kind of a deal it has to be for me to look at it. And they'll come to me.
Have you gotten more deals for real estate, or are you driving around and just looking for?
Driving around.
More
Hey, let me be perfectly clear here. I have 4 deals. Okay.
Starting.
Huh?
We're basically just starting.
Yeah. Andrews, the Andrews property I got through Craigslist. Okay. I look at Craigslist pretty regular. Every once in a while something comes up there.
I like to drive around.
Good combination.
Yeah. And yes, ma'am.
You mentioned going into rental properties. Will you manage those properties on your own?
No, ma'am.
Or you'll get a property manager?
I'll get a property manager. I have no interest in being go knock on the door, collect rent landlord.
I like this guy.
Do you have any property management companies that you are looking at?
I've talked to a couple of ladies, that I'd talked that I'm interested in.
Our goal is to get some mailbox money.
Karen McCord, I think, is real good, and she talks good fight, and she does a lot of it. And there's several in Midland too. So when I get ready to do that, I'll interview some people and try to pick somebody that can take care of my properties and collect my rent. But yeah, that property manager fee in my book is well worth the deal. I have some experience with renting some places, and I can pick the nastiest, tearing up his people that you can ever find, and every one of them will be in there 3 months after I start trying to kick them out. And I'm too soft-hearted. I'm not mean enough to be a landlord. You really have to be just, well, sorry about that. Gee, you got, whatever. You really have to be hard-hearted to be a good landlord, and I'm not.
Me either, so it's not a good thing.
Or have the knack for it. There may be a knack that I don't know about, but whatever it is, I ain't got it.
The good thing is when you hire someone else to do it, they can
basically an excuse. I'm just doing my job.
Right. Exactly. That is right. They say, oh, I'm sorry, that old mean man over there, he says I've got to do this. And that's absolutely right. Anything else? Not that I know a whole bunch, but yes, sir.
I got a question on like fix and flips.
Yes, sir.
I guess for newbies who have nothing, doesn't know anything about construction, is like, what would be like too much of a rehab? Would you have an idea? Like 40,000 is too much of a rehab.
It's a balance of investment and return.
Okay.
And I mean, in the right situation, a $300,000 rehab would be a good deal. But what you look at is okay. First thing I ask is our agent. I say, what's the ARV of this place? All right. Then I look at it and say, this is going to take X number of dollars to fix up. I've got kind of a formula I use in my head. I think everybody uses about the same formula.
Right.
But you look at the formula and say, and I refine it a little because I got a little more construction experience. But but yeah, I can come up. My numbers are usually real close, and I can say, okay, ARV's this. It's going to cost me this and this and this to do it. What's the difference? And then of course, you get fooled. There's some stuff you don't see sometimes. But
How do you determine your ARVs?
how do I what?
How do you determine your ARVs? Just comps?
Yeah, comps. I always ask for comps from realtors, and like I say, I've got a couple or three realtors I really trust, and if they tell me it's $140 a square foot neighborhood or $105 a square foot neighborhood, then I pretty well trust that's what it is.
I guess my question is, have you ever rehab on your 4? Have you ever rehab more than 30,000?
Oh yeah. I mean, the Kessler's probably it's going to be 50-55. Okay. The Azalea house it's going to be 40. The Keystone house is going to be 55.
And these are houses that like 200 when you sell it? No.
The Keystone house is a 1,600 square foot house. That's about a $90 to $100 foot neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to be 145 to 160,000. Okay. I'll wind up with 80 or 90,000 in it. Okay.
Yeah.
The Azalea is going to be 130,000 foot neighborhood, $130 a foot neighborhood.
Okay.
The Kessler is going to be $130 a foot neighborhood because it's over on the south side, north side of Illinois.
The ARVs that you're getting from your realtors, are they pretty accurate most of the time?
I'm sorry?
Your ARV from realtors.
Yeah, most of the realtor, I've got a couple that I say, wait a minute, think about that a little, look at some more comp, because it just, and sometimes they're right. But, and I kind of apply a realistic view to it. I'm saying, yeah, but that's in a perfect world.
More conservative view.
Yeah, and I definitely leave some room in that when I do it. Because number one, like I say, there could easily be something that's going to cost you more money than what you're seeing.
And on your current deals, how long does it take for you to fix the house? A couple months? 3 years?
No, I wish it was a couple of months. So we're running a little slow, especially since I'm building houses at the same time, trying to use the same crews. And it's running me 4 or 5 months.
But you're using the same crew for all projects, right?
Pretty well. Yeah, pretty well.
Right.
Yeah. Back in my younger days when I did a lot of it myself, well, it was a lot quicker. But yeah, using nearly all contractors, I'm way slower than I used to be. I guarantee I don't get up and get down and do all the things the way I used to do it. So I can do everything there is to do, but I'm slower than any contractor you ever saw.
But if you like to swing a sledgehammer, flipping's real fun.
Yeah, for what? An hour and a half?
Yeah, after that first couple of swings, you're kind of done in.
and the Kessler house, she and my father-in-law, he's her stepfather, 78 years old, little younger than the mother-in-law, but the two of them, it had the ugliest fireplace in it that you have ever seen in your life. You walk in the door, and the room behind it has a little drop floor, and this fireplace, instead of turned around and looking into the room, it's kind of dividing between the kitchen and the dining area, and it's 3 foot wide and 6 foot long, and just sticks out there like a sore thumb.
And his face wrong direction.
Yeah.
Wasn't like it was open to both rooms.
It was the ugliest thing I ever saw in my life. So her and my father-in-law got over there and took sledgehammers, and they tore that down in one day. They got up on top of the roof and started sledgehammering that chimney, and they had it down in one day.
That was not easy.
How much those things cost to put in?
Yeah.
How many bricks they put in it?
Just to put in, it cost you 10 grand.
Yeah.
He just kept coming.
They did.
But anyway, I'm always interested if anybody's wholesaling. I'm always interested in anything you got to look at, and I'll probably wholesale some too. So, yes, sir.
You got cards?
Do you? Did you bring our cards?
Oh, dear God, I don't think I bought a card.
Yeah, what you gotta do is just send that email with your number on it.
But yeah, I intended to bring a whole stack that right before I left. But I'll tell you what I will do. I will be sure and have them for the next meeting.
I don't happen to have any of his, but I think I may have some of mine.
There you go.
Yeah, who's in charge of this now?
Okay. And
Thank you.
yeah, I intended to bring 40 or 50 of them, just put them on the table and let everybody pick them up that wanted them, and that's best laid plans of mice and men.
Are there any more questions? Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.